find cosmetics like shampoos or other cosmetics that they are with ingredients that they are prohibited. And they are very big brand names. They are very well-known brand names in the supermarkets.
Like Body
So
Shop.
the industry is so powerful, not only in beauty, but everywhere. Something that I will not give to my son or to my daughter, I will not give it to anyone. So it was not used in the right way. There was also a lot of people that they find out that this is a nice way to avoid taxes and to avoid insurance payment in order to have a company tax number to do their own job.
Invisible Experts Podcast.
Okay, welcome everyone. We've got another episode of Invisible Experts. Today, I'm very glad he's joining us in this little episode, Georgios. Georgios Farfaras. With Georgios, we met a long time ago. We just talking before we start the podcast. It was about 10 years ago. We were trying to learn about social cooperatives in Greece. Hello, Georgios. How are you?
Thank you for having me. Very nice to meet you again. I'm very
Thank
happy
you.
to see you and I'm delighted to speak with you.
That's fantastic. So, Georgios, for our audience, very briefly, um, your name, and then tell us about the green ways and your relationship with the social cooperatives still in Greece.
Yes. My name is George Farfaras, born in Greece and living in Greece the last 56 years. And my background is I'm a beauty therapist. I study in the tertiary education as a beauty therapist, cosmetologist also. I've been some years in the field, 20 years in the field of cosmetics. But also I took very big lessons because I was involved in the, you can kind of the union of the workers issues, health and safety issues for the workers. So I took part in the social dialogue in the European Union between the industry of the hairdresser products and the hairdressers, because there was a big issue about health and safety in this sector. And since 2006, quite then, I quit that sector uh, since 2000 because the cosmetic is involved with a lot of dangerous ingredients inside. So I took a tune in the organic movement, in the organic agriculture, in the organic cosmetics, where I started working with consumer issues. So I was involved in this kind of movement that brought me close to the green movement generally. You could say that. So I was involved as a politician in the Eco Green Party in Greece. We elected a member of the European Parliament in 2009. I was given written questions for the European Parliament involved in issues of green economy or greenwashing. And in 2012, after some years in NGOs working for cycling, we started this social cooperative, GreenWays, and it was an initiative from different people from different sector, like from scientists of the environment, from tourist business, from me that I was involved in cycling. And we try to form a kind of business that it will not be a business because every one of us had already a business. But we wanted to start to promote this social cooperative thing that it was new that year, 2012 in Greece. So we were one of the first social cooperatives that we started working for promoting cycling as a tool for not only for commuting, but also for logistics, for education, for holidays, for tourism, in a sustainable way.
Wow. Thank you for this, Georgios. Georgios, I want to ask you about, especially for the audience, what social cooperative means, because perhaps people are not very familiar with it.
Yes,
Like,
there are different.
yeah,
Yes,
sure,
yes.
sure, sure.
Sorry,
Go
sorry
ahead.
for interrupting.
No,
Yes,
no, no. Go
there are
ahead. Go ahead,
different.
please.
They are different terminology depending of the economic system or the legislation. That because in generally is a social cooperative is that gives the power and the strength not to the capital, not to the money, but to the working force. That means that it's a company for profit, but the profits can only be the salaries of the people working for this company. This is one term. Because the other thing is that this company that profits gives only to working people, not to anyone else, must have a different aspect or a different social impact. Because you can have a social cooperative making guns or making other things that they are not in a positive social impact.
Okay.
So in Greece, the legislation says that you can have a social cooperative in three forms. One is for helping people to be included in the labor market. So if you are an ex-convict, you came out from jail, or you are an ex-addict, you came out of therapy, and you with other people like you can form a business form, a social cooperative that will help the people to get access to the labor market. Maybe it can be a cafe, maybe it can be a shop. Anything can be created by these people. So this is a social cooperative for inclusion.
Okay.
There is another form of social cooperative that has to do with health issues.
Mhm.
So it's formed only to provide medical assistance or any kind of this kind of help to the members of the cooperative. And the third form, it's like our form. It has to do with the social and the well-being of all the people. Not only the people of the cooperative, but also the social uh, population. And this is the terminology in Greece.
Okay.
You
Yes,
can have
because
different cooperatives like energy cooperatives
yeah.
or food cooperatives. This is completely different legislation or different system how the tax authorities address to them.
Okay. Terrific. Look, when we met, I remember we had a very interesting conversation. And by the time we went there to visit you in Thessaloniki, Greece was actually like through a hardship. So, from our
Still,
perspective, social cooperatives and cooperatives in general, especially those who were, trying to create or generate the social or environmental value, we thought that that would be a strategic, let's say, proposal in order to
yeah.
tackle such issues, no, during the economic meltdown in
Mm.
Greece. So I want to ask you, did it work? Or, gradually, do you think the sector has contributed, from their corner just a little bit in order to overcome all these, hardships like happened after the economic meltdown in Greece?
The first interview I gave you, it was 2014,
Hmm.
and we were the number 99 as social cooperative. We were one of the first 100. And you also met in Thessaloniki this social cooperative that Proskalo and Bioscoop, the supermarket, the food market, by a social cooperative.
Correct.
And everybody was hoping that more and more people will find out that this is a very good tool. that you can form a business, you cannot have all these tax problems or insurance problems for your workers, as long as the system works like it is written in the papers. And but it didn't happen like that. What happened really, it was like municipalities, they took the people that they were out of job, and there was no state money to have these labor positions open for the next year. So they make social cooperatives. The municipalities, they create social cooperatives, and they put their voters or their ex-employees to work for the social cooperative. That the task of the social cooperative is to do something that the municipality was obliged to give to the citizens of the municipality. So the tool was not used by people that they were unemployed. After a procedure that everybody will know what is social cooperative, what is the example of Mondragon, what is the meaning of this social togetherness to create prosperity. So it was not used in the right way. There was also a lot of people that they find out that this is a nice way to avoid taxes and to avoid the insurance payment in order to have a company tax number to do their own job. So there was not a cooperative behind. Maybe it was in the statute, in the papers, but not in the real life. Because what it was bringing as an example to from other countries to Greece, there were a big cooperatives, social cooperatives that the municipality was helping to create them, but for real, like for second hand, like to collect from the garbage, the recycling things, and to transform it in things that you can sell in a big shop, or second hand clothes. Cooperatives that was working in Europe for decades, but there was no legislation in Greece. So it was not really happening a big movement in the cooperative ideology. And beware that the Greeks, they have a strong ego. And in the century of the selfishness, to create a social cooperative, it's like trying to create something that is very risky, because everyone wants to have his own job, to be his own boss. And only if there is a social need that they can that brings the people together can make a social cooperative sustainable. Not because one or two persons they have a very nice idea to make money.
I see. So you suggest like the values behind the social cooperatives were compromised,
Yes,
right? But this
yes.
kind of individual driven by doing their own thing without actually cooperating with the community, right?
For us in the beginning, it was like that because for everyone it was very new that what you have created. So there were people find out about us because we were given a lot of presentation in Philoxenia. It's the biggest international fair for tourism in Greece, talking about cycling tourism. And we say that it's very easy for a social cooperative to have one office and to have members, social partners in different places in Greece that they can work as a tourist guide, cycling tourist guide. So you don't have to have 50 small companies, everyone in his small town to pay for the expenses to have his own office. It's not possible. But it's very nice idea if you have an office and you can do the cycling ride in your mountain as a employee of your own company, because your social cooperative, it's your own company. The legislation gives you the right for everyone who is taking part in the social cooperative to be equal in everything.
Sure,
How you
sure.
share the responsibilities and how you share the profits. So it's your own company, but you don't have to have a company because it's one company for all the partners. And this model was very accepted. We have proposals, but in the end, it happens that these people made their own social cooperative. So it's good because it's not really our purpose. Our initially purpose of our social cooperative it was not to make money out of cycling business or cycling conferences. It was to promote social cooperatives, and we choose this model because I was expert in cycling projects that period. So we found out that how the European projects are working. It's a big amount of money that is being used by NGOs or big corporations that they are consultants, and they take the projects and they give this to this university, this to the other organization, or they create their own system of business. And we find out that, okay, we can start with European projects about cycling as a social cooperatives. And was the first step in 2012, 2013. And in the after years, it happens that we are not accepted because we were social cooperative. They prefer to work with an NGO or with a real business or with a university, but not with a social cooperative. It happened in European projects or in other funds that we were excluded just because we were social cooperative. And in other cases, we were preferable because it was the name social cooperative that it was supposed to be included in the project because there were European money for social cooperative research or mentoring or incubators or startups or everything. So everybody wants to have a social cooperative in the statute or in the membership or in the project partnership.
Okay. So do you think, and this is like very contradictory, isn't it? Because the European Union is supposed to be like a collaboration among the European countries, and they weren't supporting the cooperatives by the time.
Yes,
Right.
yes, European Union is supporting. I'm talking about public, not public, but private investors
Okay, I see.
or
So that was a
sponsorships
challenge, right? We're gonna
or
we're gonna talk
sponsorships.
about, yeah, yeah. We're gonna talk about GreenWays in a minute. But I wanna go back what you say about values. It was very inspiring the fact that you were mentioning about how you quit the cosmetic business because you thought they were using bad
Yes,
ingredients, right?
yes. Something that I will not give to my son or to my daughter, I will not give it to anyone.
Exactly. So do you think like that's why you lead the way to create social cooperatives, because it will align with your values in terms of creating this kind of social or perhaps environmental value in society? That's why you move from the private sector to the cooperative sector?
First, excuse me. First, I moved to the education
Okay.
because I thought that okay, but if I can educate the young beauticians, what is the dangers and that there is an alternative way of doing beauty. So I was teaching in beauty university, beauty colleges, and beauty vocational schools for some years.
Mhm.
And then it was like that. If I wanted to do business, I don't want to do business. I don't want to make I don't want to work for money. I want to work for something higher, like you say, like a better value for me. And for the social impact that it's also profit for me. If the kids around my kid is healthy, my kid is also healthy.
Sure.
So it
Sure.
was, yes. And when the legislation brought that this social cooperative thing is, I thought that it's beyond an NGO because a non-government organization can work for a lot of things, for the environment, for refugees, for a lot of social issues, but the legislation is not allowing to have staff to be paid and to make salaries, to make profits. An NGO cannot make a profit. And the
No.
social cooperative, this was the beginning, and also from the researchers, that the social cooperatives that they were created, it was like people that they have already NGOs and they wanted to move another step and not coming from the bottom down of the unemployment. Even if there were a lot of schools and trainings to unemployment people about social cooperative creation. But the values were never be studied or spoken about the values, only in theory, not in the real social cooperative legislation. It's just empty words if you talk about the social wellness and the development, but you have to put some cooperative values like solidarity or sustainability that has to do not only with the environment but with the society.
Yeah,
That's
that's
why
very important.
the model of the social cooperatives in Greece followed the model of the people taken out from the asylum, from the mental houses, to create houses for them, for these people, and there were businesses like in this social cooperative kind of form for their money to be put it in a way that these people can have also access to a job.
Mm.
And this was the first in this sector of health, and especially for mental health people, that these cooperative things started to work in the first stage of Greece. And after came the legislation for the social cooperatives in 2012. But the values of it's like if you want to give something, you must not think about yourself only, and think about we. If you have an idea, it's not a bad thing if they stole it. You want your idea to be stolen. You want to have people that they will do the same if you do it very nice and successfully. And this is
Sure.
a social cooperative. But it's like a mixed term we said in the beginning. Like we make a cooperative to have solar panels in our roofs in our village, so we pay less for electricity, an energy cooperative. Or
Yeah.
we have something for the waste. We collect the waste to make a profit. But it's good because we collect waste. We don't bury them, we recycle them. There is a
No, it's
social
definitely,
impact.
I agree with you. It's definitely a very strategic way, a togetherness way to empower in a way everybody, trying to generate any kind of value. Could be environmental, it could be social. I mean, as you said before, on paper, it looks a very strategic one. But then we as an individuals who are driven by, I don't know, different values, and sometimes encourage, society to, comply or align with certain values. It's a tough job. And I suppose it works for everything, right? Do you think, and I want to just ask you, like, do you think beauty itself has changed throughout the years since you left, especially with this kind of like framework of the SDGs, or even now, like people talk a lot about sustainability and it became more popular. And, like 10 years ago, and we both know, we people hardly know about what sustainability means, how they can actually drive value in terms of the environment. From your perspective, do you think has it changed, at least in beauty? That was one of your areas of expertise.
It was a lot of years, but now this year I started again to be a teacher in a vocational school about beauty
Okay.
after 10 years. And at the same time, I'm a postgraduate student in the University of Peloponnese in organizing sport events for people with disability.
Hmm.
And in beauty, people, they are aware for some things after 20 years. In 2005, I was an insider. I was a beautician in a newspaper, uh, talking about phthalates that are hormonic disruptors found in cosmetics that they were not supposed to be there. And even today, if you go to the European Commission, the European Union platform for products that they must be not in the market, it's called SafeGate. You will find cosmetics like shampoos or other cosmetics that they are with ingredients that they are prohibited. And they are very big brand names. They are very well-known brand names in the supermarkets.
Like Body
So
Shop.
the industry is so powerful, not only in beauty, but everywhere. I can give you also other examples that the industry is so strong, and the legislation of the scientific commission reports and commissions in the European Union is so slowly that they cannot find a way to protect the consumer. The industry is always in front, and the legislation is running behind to see what nanotechnology means if these nano ingredients in the cosmetics get in your skin or get in your cell of your skin. Because when I left this industry in 2006, I was writing in magazines about nanomaterials in cosmetics products, about even in the cashier receipt, in the paper you take from your receipt, there is an ingredient called bisphenol, who is a reproductive disruptor.
Hmm.
It's like in the plastic they took out from plastic water bottles, but you can find it in a paper receipt from the machine. And maybe for you, you take one receipt, it's okay, but for someone who is working in this machine, this material is absorbed by the skin. Okay, it's a detail. But cosmetics are products like the shampoo or the toothpaste that your child is using every morning. And you don't know really what is inside there. And the one successful social cooperative in Thessaloniki, maybe you know Viome, who is the people of working there in the industry. They took over the industry side and they start producing products for natural aging, shampoos and soap, liquid soaps. This is very successful since the time you left Thessaloniki, because it's a big market. The cleansing products for your skin or for your house, it's a big market with a huge profit margin. So, because all the products are made out of petrol, there's
Sure.
nothing to do with real soap, even the one you put on your skin or on your hands. It's called soap, but has nothing to do with the saponization, which is the form of creating a soap. It's just mineral oils with detergents that make bubbles, so you think you clean your skin, but what you are doing, you are taking out the lipids of your skin and you make it dry and more dry. So you need a cream to put afterwards.
Wow. It's very scary, man, to be honest.
Yes,
Especially
yes,
because, like even we at home, we trying to get like bio products and with the toothpaste and shampoo and soaps. Uh, like we even try to make our own detergents, like we do with tea tree, you know, we're supposed to like help, right? So it's
yes,
kind
but
of, yeah. Please
because
go
the
ahead.
soap is because the soap is very ancient recipe, is very simple, very nice to do it yourself. It's just fat, oil, and sodium carbonate. Or if you don't have it, this chemical, you take ashes, you put water in a barrel and a lot of ashes, and then from a small hole from the bottom of the barrel, you take the water with sodium carbonate. And you put it in oil if you want to put it in your face, but if you wanted to clean your clothes, you put it in the fat from the animals or any kind of fat, and you have a
Wow.
soap.
From your perspective, how much industries are aware of the negative consequences onto the clients? Do you think they just don't care, or they are just too embedded in the business and they cannot go back and make natural products in order to mitigate the negative effects onto people's skins? What do you think from your perspective?
The industry has any kind of products, depending how much you pay and what you are aware of. The same industry who produce organic or natural by the name or certified, because it was a big fight about the certification of organic cleansing products and cosmetics. Still, there is a huge gap because every country has their own certification.
Sure.
There was not a common. But the industry has, like the industry of fossil fuels, they are having solar panel. The industry of cancer cosmetics, they have clean cosmetics,
Hmm.
depending on the market and the aware of the population.
Georgios, on in terms of beauty, because you've been working for a long time, then you're going back there. Why so expensive? Because they are expensive. I mean, like, I always think, like natural products, organic products, they are good, but they are not for everybody's pocket, right? Usually, like, the consumers are blamed for it. No, you should have invested
You
because it's your. So, what do you think?
the sustainability has to do with being able to be self-sufficient. If you can create your own food in your own garden, the basics, or your vegetables, or you can create your cosmetics because you don't need so much products. And if you search, you can find that there's a simple way to have a shampoo, to make a shampoo, to make a soap, to make a cream for your face, for your pain, for your headache, depending on the essential oil you put. You just need the base. It was a huge uh, amount of people creating, we call it here beeswax cream. It's the first recipe of a gallinoise, the cold cream. You just need wax and oil, and you
Okay.
have a cream. You heat the oil and you put the wax, you stir it, and you have, depending how thick or not thick the cream you want to create. And if you put an essential oil inside, depending of the essential oil, you have the characteristics of the cream. If you want to have it an analgesia for pain, or if you wanted to have stimulant, or if you want to have it relaxing, or if you have it for insects bites, or if you put like calendula oil, different oil. Then there were people that they making homemade cosmetics, and you have a lot of in organic fairs or also food markets. You had people like they are selling cosmetics, handmade cosmetics, and they were selling also handmade jewelry and handmade things because the recipe is very easy.
Wow. Georgios, if you have to maybe like tell people to be aware for you, what are the, top three more dangerous ingredients, if you like, in cosmetics that people have to look into when they buy, let's say a shampoo or toothpaste, and then they check the label,
Mm.
why should we be aware of from your perspective?
They have to, excuse me, they have to try to find organic certified because everything else is fake.
Okay.
Everything else is mineral oils with chemical from minerals, and in the end, they just put a little bit of a herb just to say that they have a herbal recipe. Because it's like the very simple thing is this. The other simple thing is that everything that is written after the perfume, it's nothing. Because
Okay.
there is a minimum of the perfume or the preservative to be like 0.2 of the amount. So everything is written in your product behind the perfume or the preservative. It's like just a trace of it. You don't have enough to give you any result. But the basic is that a lot of these products, it's in the during the process that they produce nitrosamines. Even if they don't have ingredients in the label that says that, because there are some database that you can go and you can put your product or you can put the name of the ingredient, and they can show you how many studies are able to for you to find if it is good or bad, and they give colors to the product. It started from the environmental working group in US, and because it was a big fraud in the cosmetics about who is organic and who is not. And so this is the main issue, that every product that is produced by minerals has nitrosamines that are produced during the process of making this cosmetic. So you are not safe, even reading the label. That's why you try to have your own, or if you want to try to have to buy something, you are looking for organic bio certification, that you know that is a real certification and not a stamp on it.
Okay, that's a good advice. Well, in my case, we use Yuka. You know the Yuka app? It's like an application that you basically scan the code and then it gives you like the information about the product. So they do both. They do food and also they do beauty and cosmetics.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very effective from my perspective. I really trust the app because it's basically crowd under crowded basis. You pay for a membership and they have a lot of members in the app. So I don't know, it seems trustful. I basically, like, for a long time I switched from, let's say, more common products, and now tend to use bio. But as I said before, I make my own detergent, like with tea, like tea tree, and then maybe lemongrass and calendula oil too. I used lavender. They all have their own function. So we try to keep it safe and sound, but to some extent, it's really hard to be away completely out of the system. So we use these kind of apps, which from my perspective is very effective. Were you aware of
The
Yuka app? Have you heard?
No. But the industry, they are so flexible that they can change just a bit of the molecule to change the name of the ingredient.
Mm.
So until your app find out the new ingredient, there is no study of this new ingredient. So you have to wait, because in cosmetics it's not like drugs. That's why they say that the industry of drugs is using cosmetics to test ingredients in humans, because in cosmetics you don't have to wait 10 years for a test for a new ingredient if you put in the cosmetic. And also the patent, you can have a patented ingredient that it's closed. You cannot find out. You just read in your product label. You just read the patented ingredient, but you don't really know what is. Or for example, what I told you about nano ingredients, they start to use it as a zinc oxide or titanium dioxide as a sunscreen, because it was a very successful sunscreen, this mineral, because it didn't have any reactions to the skin, because it was not a chemical filter. Chemical filters are very dangerous for humans and for the environment and for the whole planet because they are estrogenic mimic. So the mineral sun filters, zinc oxide and titanium dioxide, they used to be in the sunscreens for total block, for total protection, but they make your skin white because it's a white pigment. So the technology, they made it in nano form. So you put the same product and you don't see nothing on your skin. But this nano ingredient in this form has never been studied. Where it can go, if it can penetrate, or if your skin is a little bit dry or wounded, because cosmetics must be used in a healthy skin. It's the legislation. But if you are sunburned and you put this total block with nano ingredients, you don't know how deep these nano ingredients go. Because it's the same area of nano, you have nano clothings for protection for the winter. You have a nano clothing that if you wash this nano material is going to the water you drink afterwards. These nano materials, or they put nano materials in your skin or in your hair cream. So when you put it, you are shining. Yes, you are shining because they are nano pigments like what you put in your car paint to have this perla, this shining. They put it in nano material in your skin and on your hair, so you are shining when you put it. They don't tell this to you, but they say that this is a new product that it makes your hair shining from health. But what is shining is this pigment that is reflecting the sun, and you have it under your skin, probably. A lot of things that they are not tested, but they are in the cosmetics.
Okay.
So go natural.
So do it yourself. This is your
Yes,
advice.
of course.
So what does science suggest? So totally, I have no idea, right, about this. This is a kind of a new topic for me, but it's actually very interesting because it is included in the sustainable world. So what the science says, what are the negative consequences? What they haven't found out yet? What happened with your body?
By the year I left this industry, it was in the procedure of the European Union to find out what equipment we need to find out what is going on.
Mhm.
Because we don't have the equipment to measure the impact of the nanomaterials. After some years of nanotubes, maybe we have heard like nanotubes, that they can create nanomotors or nano things. One form, it was nanotubes, that they found out that this size of the material makes the material change behavior. This
Oh,
is completely crazy, that you have a material that has these physical characteristics, but when it turns to nano, it starts behaving different, and it starts behaving like asbestos, which is cancer. And so they quit. They say, okay, we don't make any more of this. But it was after some years they found out what was going on. So I don't know. I haven't followed, but I have to follow now that I have to teach makeup, and we're dealing about pigments. And what I'm talking about natural colors of your skin, and how you can create natural colors by the nature, how it used to be. But still, it's something that you cannot play, or even with natural essential oils, because they are allergenic, both
mhm.
natural. It doesn't have to be a chemical compound. Also, natural things, they have some adverse effects on your skin or on your body. So it's like the price of the beauty. What you pay, we say in Greece, in front of the beauty, what is the pain? It's an expression that you can sacrifice yourself in a matter of the beauty. And this is the vanity. That's why also another reason I left this business. Because even I was working about for organic cosmetics, there was still this vanity to put more and to put more. But I was in the process of the growth, that you must put less, and we have to consume less, and you have to work less, and you have to pay less. And this is my my direction of the growth, or at least I cannot help you that you want to be beauty. I want to help someone who they make his life ugly, and that's why after working with GreenWays Coop about people with cycling and people for physical activity, I say okay, and we start working with refugees in 2015 when the big mass of people coming in Greece. We make some projects for cycling with refugees, giving a tool to refugees to be more active, the kids to be more happy in their camps, under in that prisons, and some way for social interaction between the community and the refugees to go to have a bicycle to go to buy some things because they had nothing to commute and nothing to transport and nothing to move weight and nothing. And this it was the last project in 2016 that we worked also with NGOs and with municipalities to provide at least used bicycles.
So that was with Greenways, no?
Yes, yes, we have
Okay, so
donations.
would you mind, like,
Sorry,
before?
sorry, I changed.
No, but that's cool. That's cool because can you please explain to the audience what Greenways is and how it started? And then we going back to your project, which is
Okay. GreenWays started in 2012 about promoting cycling,
Mhm.
and we started with mainly European projects about cycling tourism. And we were working as an outsourced or external contractor for Eurovelo, who is the European cycling network for tourism in Europe. And during the following years, we were involved with the International Sport Association. And we work together as partners in European projects for physical activity, promoting cycling mostly as a tool for health activity. And during this project, we worked and we find out that we are not welcome as a social cooperative involved in matters of education or in matters of sport organizing events. Because they were like the ministries, they don't want other people to be involved, even if they do some things that the ministry never thought to do. So in 2016, we made the last European big project until 2018 about trying to find out from the ministries what they are doing about promoting physical activity in the population, in all kinds of people. And we find out they're doing nothing and they don't want to do nothing. And since 2018 was the last European project we do. We cycled from Greece to Vienna,
wow.
23 days. And another group cycled from Holland to Vienna, and we met there and we made the opening for the European Sport Week. And we were traveled with electric bicycles from Greece, not all of them. And we were carrying also some olive trees that we were planting in every city we were sleeping. The next morning we were planting an olive tree as a message of friendship and peace.
How
And
many were you? How many?
sorry,
How many people were you?
5 people from Greece and 5 people from Holland.
Okay.
And after that, it was the time that COVID came, and Greenways were completely out of work, and there was no possibility of doing European projects, or we didn't want to have European projects just to be in a computer doing nothing. And it happens that I have to move also for personal reason. I moved from Thessaloniki to a small town, Tripolis, in Arcadia, in Peloponnese. We try to find, to create some smaller projects for the youth people here, like for hate speech or for gender violence, just to keep the Greenways Social Cooperative keep working, just to have at least one person to be employed in the social cooperative. But we find problems in a small city to try to find young people to go outside. In Europe, it was quite difficult because it's a small community and they're not used in such Erasmus projects or leaving their young boys, 18, 19 years old, to go out of Greece. So we kept the Greenways from 2020. We kept it just in papers open. And now it's like you find us in the moment we are starting to reorganize again. We are looking for new partners in order to stimulate the working force, because for me it's like I have different work now. It's not something permanent, but I have a contract working in the university as a human resources administrative. So because I have the resources and I have the money to invest for the expenses, for the monthly expenses, I keep the Greenways open this moment. And I hope that until next year that we will be involved again in projects, but for really vulnerable people, for people with disabilities. We would like to work in this field now.
That would be like a life changing, I think, because health
Yes.
and disabilities aren't always working together. So I think cycling, if you have an adapted bike for disabled people, it would change their life. You know,
It changed,
traveling, going around, feeling empowered.
it
That
changed
would
my
be,
life also. It changed my life also. The first time I went there to a center for people with disabilities, for creative it's like a center from the municipality that you can have your child there and they try to have something creative, writing, physical activity, theater, or anything creative to keep the children happy. And the first time I went there with my bicycle and we make some things, the happiness I took, the smiles and the laughs of these people, gave me so much power that I say that this is a nice way to not work, because it was not work for me. I was there volunteering to celebrate the World Bike Day some years ago. But now with this postgraduate class I take, I'm connected with people with physical activity for disabled people or with Paralympics. And I found out that just some months ago, there is a social cooperative in a city nearby that they made this social cooperative to provide services to these people. And I say, oh, I'm very happy that I want to meet these people. And this is something that gave me a motivation back again to start in implementing green ways in this field.
how how you know how drama you know how yes, how drastic your life changed after you witnessed this. Could you elaborate? Because it happened something similar to me, but I want to learn from you. Because health through sports is very important, but you need to bear in mind that you have to be healthy, overall, but how health can actually change the chemistry, the mindset, the behavior of such a vulnerable group. So could you elaborate how drastic was the change before and after you met and you had this opportunity?
Yes, it was not. It was. I witnessed not only in myself or with the person I was there to help me, that we were looking each other, but the the reaction of the children and also the adults, because they were with different disabilities, mental or others, and different mental disabilities. So it was not a unified project or unified thing to do. It was like more than let's play, let's tell you about the bicycle. And depending the reaction of the children, we were following to try to learn how to balance with a balance bike. Or we put another child in a tricycle in the box and we make a rounds and the smile, the voices, the happiness is something that also gave me the situation that how I can go more, or maybe I have gone too far.
Hmm.
And this is something that this postgraduate give me the scientific approach, because now I have to study and I give questions that I have this block how to react with these people. That I have something that is something that you learn. You must learn how to behave with persons with disabilities, because maybe you're trying to help and you make it more visible his disability and you make him more sorry if you
Hmm.
with the kind of help. This is something that is very common. You are trying to help someone and you make him feel disabled, but he's not disabled. You are disabled because you have this approach to disability. I am disabled.
Sure. It's
And
true,
this is
like
something,
beating, exactly, like beating someone else so
yes,
much,
yes.
you
This is something that is,
disempower them. But sometimes, don't you think like we have this tendency to help others because we want to help ourselves? I mean, we sometimes, humbly I have to accept that you tend to feed your own ego, right?
yes, but they say that the biggest happiness is making other people happy.
Okay, okay.
So it's like that. Because you cannot make yourself happy, the other people make you happy. You cannot make yourself happy.
By these interactions, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
I never believe in these like uh, a man is an island, right? Actually, like, or a girl is an island, so who doesn't matter. I mean, leave alone, not to communicate and interact. Sometimes
A
it's
man can
hard.
be everything. A man can be everything,
Sure, sure.
not only an island.
Look, back in
And
the day, my perception about disability changed because we make this small documentary for a company that is called, it's a social enterprise actually. It's called Ciudad Accesible in Almeria, in the south of Spain. And to be honest, I experienced the same as you. Like it was a life changing because the way that I perceive now disability is different. Right? Sometimes society made them more disabled, you know?
yes, yes.
And
I
as you
found
said
out,
it, it's us,
yes,
maybe.
I found out the last 4 months studying and searching everywhere about a lot of issues about cycling and disability or anything about disability legislation, working force, European, UN, everything. I found out there are 10 countries in Europe that they allow permanent sterilization of disabled persons by judge authorities or by relatives. And this is horrible. We're not talking about the right to vote or the right to sign for yourself, but they are Okay, they say that there are some specific cases that this is allowed, but you never know how this can be used in these countries if there is a legislation that allows such a thing.
Yeah, it's such a social cleansing.
Yes,
I mean, we are
totally.
so,
Yes.
honestly, like sometimes we are so, um, I don't know how to put it. We just wanted to make our life easier, and we don't have this capacity to understand other worlds. That's why I always like this kind of concept of pluriverse. No universe, but pluriverse. And that includes understanding groups such as the disabled groups. We don't have the capacity. That's why sometimes they have like lack of access to the simple things, go to the bathroom, or get to their houses. And these companies that I
Mm,
just mentioned
yes.
before, they were trying to plan, in terms of architecture, planning from the beginning to be 100% accessible. So this is what I'm trying to say. Like sometimes we have this tendency or the incapacity to understand other worlds. We just want to make our own. And as you put it, like, okay, if it's not like this, maybe, I don't know, we get rid of these people. That's a
If
challenge,
we,
huh? Let's see how it
yes,
goes. Green, I really like this transformation, no? Like you started to, okay, health for everyone, and now health for this specific group, which is,
yes,
it has a lot of barriers, no? And also like they are very excluded in terms of like, in a way, they are not also socially excluded, but also like socially bullied. If you see what I'm saying, because they sometimes they are object of laughter, or you know.
yes, exploitment of use and the worst thing that we have to fight, it's not the policies, but it's the social stigma. We have to fight the families to let the children come out of the house
Hmm.
because there are a lot of children, they are not there in that center playing. There are a lot of children, they don't come out of the house because their parents, they feel the social stigma to take these children out. But also there are also other disabilities that they don't have like the basic, because you have the legislation to have a corridor for the blind people in the pavement, but
Hmm.
you have the municipality given license to the cafe to have tables on the corridor for the blind people. You have this paradox that you cannot, there are so many things to go and speak for and to try to, to create something useful for these persons that you don't know from where to start. This is the basic, to have a corridor for blind people. You have the legislation and you have everything. You put money on the pavement to create a corridor for the blind people, but you don't keep it safe. You don't keep it free. And the answer in the question why you don't do it is because we don't have blind people in town. Are you sure
Because
you
they don't go
cannot?
out, I suppose.
Or it's not possible for the blind people to go with the white stick to go out in the corridor because it's occupied by tables, and you cannot do nothing about that.
I know, and also like, I suppose we don't have the capacity to untap in such a potential that they have. I visited back in the day, few years ago, two there were two initiatives with blind people or virtually impaired people. One was in Poland and the other one was in Sri Lanka. Okay. And both they were doing massages, you know, and they were incredibly effective for it. Right? What I loved about these two projects is like they were run by them, in the beginning of they needed a little bit of help, but eventually they were totally autonomous. They were dealing with the clients, they were dealing with everything. Of course, they have all the infrastructure in favor for them to keep up going. but they have so much potential, even the power of healing. They were practicing Reiki or Shiatsu and these kind of like methodologies to heal. I don't know, like as you said before, sometimes we are so, maybe the blind, maybe the blinded people are us, that we are not sometimes able to see beyond, right?
And we are born in a environment that is controlled. The market is controlled. Everything is controlled. So even if you want to practice this in Europe, you cannot. You need a lot of papers just to start do a simple thing. If you want to, like I'm now teaching to people that in the market of beauty, and you have a lot of different codes of professions in these markets, because you can do nails, you can do just massage, you can do uh, hammam sauna, you can do spa, you can do Reiki, like you say, you can do a lot of things, but some things are not regulated and you can do it. Some other things are regulated, so it needs more from a person to come to the market. Or even like hairdressing was to be the most popular job for the women to get in the labor market. The first job was in this industry in the world. I was involved in this industry and I found out that there were companies from Europe that they were going to Africa to teach to people how to color their hair because it was a new market. And they got funded from a lot of different ways because they were giving to the women uh, an exodus to the labor market to make your own hairdressing, to make your own beauty salon, just to make you the first start in the labor market. Then they were investing in that because it was a huge market growing.
Hmm.
If you start teaching how to color your hair, you have to color your hair every 1 month or 2 months because your hair grows. So it's not something you do it and finish. You have to do it every 2 months. It's a business. And this is a very strong initiative for a woman to, and very easy to get in the market because there is also a huge black market in this profession.
Which
You,
means,
who means a lot of girls, they are doing the job in their houses and they are doing hairdressing without license, without
okay, I
health
see.
and safety issues,
Hmm.
without nothing. They don't need the social cooperative. They don't need to form a
No,
social cooperative to go out in the labor market. They could do it in the black market.
yeah, of course, and they would be like outside the radar. And Georgos, how was it to work with migrants? You mentioned briefly before, and I'm sorry I stopped you because I wanted to for the audience to understand what GreenWays was. And you mentioned about the migrants. No, you have such a massive uh,
Yes.
entrance from, and you were like helping in a way with Greenways. How was this experience? Because nowadays, like migrants are, stigmatized. Even myself, living in Europe as a migrant is tough, because I look different. So how was it, man?
A human tragedy. It was a human tragedy for everyone. For us also to see this happening and to see children born in a tent in the cold, outside of the big city of Thessaloniki, that there were no possibility to have these people somewhere safe or warm. And it was a human disaster. And at the same time, it was also an exploitation because there were a lot of NGOs and a lot of volunteers with crowdsourcing funds and doing everything that the government or other authorities couldn't do. And it was a huge thing, the 2015, before the borders closed to go to Europe. And it was the situation. It was people living in tents and cooking in the tents. and giving labor born children in the tents. And what we could do is just giving transporting foods or clothing material donations from people, from NGOs. We used to have that, and then we made it more specific that we were collecting bicycles from donations from a lot of organizations. They gave us hundreds of bicycles, and also Greek people donated their own bicycles. We fixed them, and we gave it to camps, to children for playing, for having something to use in the camps, and also for the adults to use the bicycles to go for shopping. And then we made through a European project, we have a theory of change.
Yeah.
We try to have a social impact measurement, and so we make a theory of change, and we involve the municipality of Thessaloniki, and then also another state organization, just to involve them so that they can continue. That if after we finish this project and with our own resources, and they say, okay, we will do it, but also from the authorities back then, from the government, say, okay, we will find all the bicycles from the police stations that they have collected from the streets, abandoned bicycles, that because we usually give these bicycles for scrap, for metal, we can give these bicycles to you, and you can fix them, and you can give it to the refugee camps, but this never happened. So yes, and then the government changed, and then nothing happened, and then it's like we moved out of Thessaloniki. The situation was completely different. The following years, it was the STIA project, that it was giving shelter, houses, and money to the refugees that they were expecting their asylum. And it happened, I worked in such a project from the municipality here in Tripoli when I came here, because I had the experience from Thessaloniki. So they took me as a person who has working with refugees in the past. But it happens I was too much for them, because I give too much um attention to the legislation, to the code of ethics about refugees. We had to sign a certificate protocol with the UN authorities. And this was not kept, so I left after 8 months working with this project. I left because working with refugees, it's very dangerous for them and for you. And you must keep the protocols. If you don't keep the protocols, maybe you risk, but I didn't want to risk myself, my name and my reputation, so I left.
Wow. But what would happen in terms of risk? What were the risks?
There is a code of ethics. You cannot be alone with a refugee. You always have to be with another personnel for anything to happen, that you must have a witness of any kind of misbehavior. This is the protocol. And if you don't keep the protocol, anything can be said. And I cannot be a witness of nothing. So I say, if you don't accompany me, I cannot go alone with the refugee. And this is like one term. There are also other code of ethics that you sign with the UN, how to behave with refugees, that you have to keep, that other people, they were not using the code of ethics. So I didn't want to be in this environment. You must not have personal relation with any refugee using the project. You cannot go out for coffee with him. You cannot have any kind of relation with any kind of refugee, adult or child.
Wow.
So,
And what
so
do you
it's
think is that for? What's the purpose?
because it's a matter of a change. Because I'm like a personnel of the UN,
Mm-hmm.
And I am your escort to take you to the office for this job, to take you to this administration office. I'm your accompany person. I cannot be your friend. I cannot go out coffee with you because you don't know what is going to happen.
I understand that, but why do you think they're doing that? What's the purpose? Why they wanna keep it in that way? Because it's dangerous.
They want to avoid misconduct
Okay,
because the refugee can say everything or you can say everything that happened. And you are someone that you are like in the terms of the project of the STIA of the UN for refugees, you are not supposed to have any kind of relation.
okay. So was it sad for you? Because you are a parent, I suppose, seeing families there and also
Yes,
like,
yes, of course, of course, of course. But it's also make me a little bit happy because I see the smile again in the children taking a bicycle to run around the tents. It was, yes, it was Christmas period that this was very strong because it was also a newborn baby. It was like a Christmas for a Muslim family in a tent in Greece, celebrating a newborn baby.
that's beautiful,
Uh,
man. Yeah,
yes, and
wow. Born,
thanks to foreign NGOs, there was this also from Greek population, but the the logistics, the equipment, the personnel who was working, there were a lot of people from abroad, from all over Europe.
like I'm very glad you took Greenway to another level.
We'll
Imagine
see, we'll
like,
see. We'll see next year because now we have to start again. We want new partners with scientific background in physical activity and disability. And I meet a lot of persons now in the postgraduate class. And a lot of European organizations that they are doing a lot of things with Greek organizations here, and but they're not doing something with cycling. So we will bring something for them new, and we hope they take it with they find it valuable for them because I see a lot of scientific studies. A lot of scientific studies for Down syndrome, for autism, for a lot of mental issues. The cycling has done very big impact in their progress.
I'm gonna put you in contact with my friend here in Spain because
Yes, please.
he has a wonderful project and he has helped himself and other disabled people in the country. I will put you in touch with him. That would be
My name,
fantastic.
my name Greenways is took out from Greenways European Association, who is an association for creating old railways to paths, green paths. And the most famous was Via Verde in Spain. They took up in the mountains the railways. They took out the railways and they make very nice pavement that people with wheelchairs or people with bicycles, they can cross these rails, this path. And in the station is waiting you a hostel with a massage, jacuzzi, sauna pool.
That's for real? Where is it?
Yes, Via Verde, Spain. There are a lot of Via Verde.
No, no, I know. I'm very familiar with the actual context because even myself, I walked to it. Georgos, in terms of like, this kind of experience with migrants, because you were there, you were working with these people. You know how misinformation works, how bad it is from media, because the way that they portray, you know, obviously perpetuated and legitimized by some politicians in terms of the migrants, how bad it is. You were there, so you can tell.
Everywhere, everywhere. But we were saying as a joke that we are the Greeks, we are immigrants in our country for years now.
Okay.
Because people coming from abroad, they can have better prices or better services or better things like we do here. So we are feeling like we have to go somewhere else to fill our country because we are feeling here like immigrants.
Wow. So is that so? How many migrants have you had? Have you got in Greece now?
I don't know really the number now because most of them, they are illegally in Europe. Because when you take the asylum, you have a passport that you can travel for 6 months abroad. So at least from the families that they were here in a small town in Tripolis, there's no family here. I don't know if they moved to Athens, to Thessaloniki, who have relatives. Most of them, they moved after the first month. People who stay, maybe they were waiting for their papers to go abroad. But now it's newcomers. Now we have newcomers
Okay.
because the last years it was quiet. Now we have newcomers because every day in the news we have a boat somewhere in some island or I don't want to. It's something is going on.
Okay. But my question is, media tend to portray them as dangerous. Do you think they are dangerous or some of them?
Look, this is
Tough
something is
topic. Yeah.
uh, it's not about that.
Okay.
It's not about that because they are humans. If they are people that they are criminals among them, it's also criminals among us. And if you have a normal state with borders and you control who's coming in, you can find out who is he. That's why they say that some countries they picked up the good immigrants and we left with the bad immigrants. Who did this selection? You are the first country incoming. You can control who is coming, not someone in Germany or in Sweden. You are the first country that people passing through. So if you wanted to keep the doctors, you can keep the doctors, but no doctor would like to work in a dead health system of Greece. Because Greek doctors, they want to leave Greece. The situation in Greece is much worse than you left it in 2014, even if it was in the crisis still. Because now we have very good numbers, very good news about our economic growth and our success and our smart business and this. But the real situation in the market, in the labor market, or also in the consumer issues, it's much worse than it was before. The inflation in food is, you cannot fight it. But our big macroeconomic numbers are very well.
How come? So basically, how is happening then? How do you have an excellent macro indicators and then your macro indicators doesn't really correspond to the
Because we went so much down in the bottom that the huge rise, it looks like a miracle. We have the salary of 10 years ago, of 20 years ago. We have a raise. The last 3 years they give us a raise, but the money are still 20 years ago, 15 years ago. But the inflation and the rents and the food is in the sky. So we are worse. We are not better.
so that also produce immigration. So the Greeks are moving around Europe, I suppose.
Yes, and thanks God we have immigrants because we have cheap labor for the collecting of trees and fruits. Because nobody is here to collect olives, and we have to import Pakistan people and Bangladesh people to collect our olive trees. By government papers, by government license, we are importing immigrants for olive trees.
Wow.
These are the good immigrants, and the other are the bad immigrants.
Yes, yes.
Because
I I get
These
your
people are
sarcasm.
coming. These people are coming with papers from the Pakistan government, and the other people are coming with no papers.
Wow, so it's not very like inspiring or not very positive ecosystem now in Greece then.
No, no, never was.
Yeah.
And I don't know how it will change things because also the political situation is very unstable. There is no opposition
Mhm.
to a government that is doing everything. I don't know if you heard the news about Predator, about our government spying the telephones of ministers or no, you don't have.
No, no, I haven't heard. No.
Yes. We have such a very good political situation that nobody is hoping for nothing,
Hmm.
and this is very bad thing for the mentality of the population,
Wow.
unfortunately. But
Uh,
we are keep a positive, how you say, spirit that we are still standing up healthy, and we have at least a vision to dream of, and we go on smiling.
Who would you say like this like the classical Greece, no? Who inspired the West society, in terms of art, literature, even the democracy that we know today is because of the Greeks. And now it seems like this is just from the past, right? That's
Yeah,
very
well,
sad,
it's
man.
like we have done our part. Now it's your turn. We gave you the materials, the tools. Now you are doing the job, and you are doing very well in a lot of places in the world. The humanity is progressing.
Wow, man. I love Greece, man. I love Greek food and I love, you know, the actual country. In my house, we always have feta cheese and sometimes, every now and then we do tiropita and spanakopita. Actually, this weekend, I have friends coming over. I'm gonna do Gemistan, man. Yeah, I love it, man. Oh gosh. Listen, Georgios, like the last question. You always
Yes,
mention about you are super involved in European projects.
yes.
So for our audience, who perhaps they want to maybe move forward with their initiatives and try to do stuff, how would they actually like apply for those Europeans opportunities? How does it work?
You have social networks that they are doing business in social network like LinkedIn. So you are in a sector, you follow what the business is going in this sector, and you follow and you follow and you find seminars, you find webinars, you find European institutes, you find a European organization, and you try to get connected with them. And maybe they don't have a partner in your country. And if you are a reliable and positive organization and person, they would like to work with a new country. This is how happened with us.
Hmm,
Because
very interesting.
yes, this is what I say to also to my students and other people that don't be disappointed about the situation in Greece because there's no only Greece. You have to look outside near you, and it's very easy
True.
to look now, and you will find what you cannot find here. You will find somewhere else. Don't worry, and get connected. And please, anyone who wants to, please contact for anything.
Are there any like strategic partnerships that have helped Greenways amplify its impact?
Our connection with the International Sports and Cultural Association, who has an expertise in physical fitness promotion, gave us a lot of tools in the times we were working together. It was a lot of training for people involved in this project that make us much more capable for working in the future for different things like this theory of change, this social impact measurement was something that was very helpful.
Hmm.
And And usually it's like find partners that they do similar things with you in another country that they are very willingly to help you because they don't see the competition so in front of them. So they're willingly to share their secrets or their strategy. For me, it's always like that. I don't hide everything because this is the purpose. Maybe the Greenways shouldn't be a social cooperative for cycling. It could be social cooperative for consultants in some issues, or at least for at least having to do with sustainable transport or sustainable mobility, because we are a lot of years involved there. And even now, there are a lot of projects going on in issues that we started, or a lot of projects that now happens. Like last month, it was I was involved in a. I find out that it was the first GreenWays project in Greece after so many years. That they are trying to see if there is the possibility to create greenways paths in railways, abandoned railways in Greece. So it's always be aware of what's going on abroad of your country to find partners and collaborators.
Okay, so it's safe to say that the next move for Greenways would be to work with disabled groups, right?
Yes, this is the aim. This is the aim. Because we have already doing this voluntarily. Now we are going to start once a week to go to this center for children with disabilities to do cycling once a week. This is going to be a voluntary work and also a work for my postgraduate thesis. So it's going to be a research paper after 2 years for this happening. And
Mhm.
this will give us at least a boost to cooperate with other partners in Europe that they are more experienced in these issues because we have no experience working with disability.
Yeah, I know it would be a new move for you. Georgios, for those interested in green innovation, what advice or perhaps insights would you share based on your experience?
What do you mean green innovation?
People who wants to like lead, green initiatives, or maybe it doesn't matter whether it's through a cooperative or they doing by solo in terms of, this kind of sustainable world. What would you advise them? Do you think it's worthy after all, even though going through these hardships, to try to make the world better?
Yes, because it's first it makes themselves better. It's that from what you start. You have to do something that you would like to do, not because there is profit there, because there's no meaning. So if you feel like you want to involve in this green thing, no matter what is this green thing you have in mind, of course it's going to pay you back the next moment. You don't have to wait to get the profits. It's like you say to someone, you don't need to clean food because you're gonna live more. No, you eat clean food because maybe you will not be sick the next week because you want to be as long as you live to be healthy, not to live more. This is not such a thing we are saying that or how you treat the environment. It's not. It's because you're gonna see it clean the next day. If you want to have a urban garden, it's because it's going to be better the place there after 3 4 months after you cultivate uh, this place that is kept there doing nothing. I have an urban garden next to my building that it was a parking place, and I asked to the neighbor if I can have a parking place. He said yes, and I say okay, can I do it a garden? He say okay, I'm very happy you're gonna do a garden. And now he's collecting. I'm not collecting. Okay, I made a garden for him, and it's nice for me also because if I want, I can collect, and it's nice to see there some tomatoes trees, even it's November.
Wow. Yeah.
Yes.
Climate change, am I right? Okay,
Yes.
just to finalize our conversation, could you share maybe like 3 tips, you know, for people who wants to make the change in the world they want to see based on your experience? 3 pieces of advice. Okay, do these, and do this. What would you say?
I'm not a guru. I don't know. I don't have such things. What I have done always, I was choosing the job I wanted to do. I was looking to the newspaper and I was looking the boss I wanted to find because I
Mhm.
wanted to learn. That's why I was choosing the jobs. I studied something that I was not supposed to study, beauty, but I found an interest and I stayed there because it was something that keeps me interested and that triggers me. And this is something that I think people follow, what triggers them, what initiates something inside them. And this they have to follow. And I don't know, be patience is a good thing that you cannot expect the results very fast, or maybe you never see the results you wanted and you see other results, yeah, that you never thought you're going to see. So don't be expect too much and be open to what will come. And third, make good friends on the way there. Make good friends.
Don't make enemies, right?
Oh no, it's good if you make enemies. It means you make something very important. But this they will it will happen, but without you trying. But to make friends, you have to try. So try to make a good friend on the way.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you, Georgios. It was a pleasure reconnect with you. As always, it's very inspiring. People, for those who wanna maybe see how was Georgios 10 years ago, go and check our documentary in Greece about social cooperatives in our YouTube channel. Thanks again for being part of this podcast, Invisible Experts. And it was very inspiring. I mean, we ended up talking about things that I didn't expect. That was
That's
pretty
good.
cool.
Thank you. Thank you. That's good. That's good that we enjoyed. I also enjoyed. I haven't speak. No, I haven't speak so much for myself for a long time. I haven't
Okay.
given either you.
It's
And
okay.
it was also for me helpful because I it makes me think back the things I've done, and it was a nice trip with you.
It was good, man. I mean, to be fair, like it's been always inspiring. Like we are very privileged, and I am very privileged having met people like you throughout my years. So honestly, like the person who I am is because of people like you. So thanks a lot, man. I hope
Thank you also, Adam.
Greece get better, and if I get back, of course I pass by, and maybe we can partner at some point. We can think how we can make the world better. Okay. For the last one,
Yes.
let's make a photo.
Let's make the world more beautiful.
Exactly. Okay. Thank you, Georgos. That was fantastic.
Have a nice night. Thank you
Okay.
also.
Goodbye.
Bye bye.
Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye.